Hello students, in the last video we discussed chapter 2 of the story The Key by Satyajit Ray, and today we'll continue with the same story and we are going to focus on chapter 3. But before that, let's have a quick look at the story so far. Anukul confirms that a stranger, Surajit Dasgupta, has met Radharaman on the day of his death. Dasgupta, who is actually a music researcher, arrives at the bungalow claiming that he has agreed to buy 2 rare instruments from Radharaman before his death. Dasgupta shows a postcard from Radharaman inviting him to visit and buy 2 instruments of interest, namely Kamanche, which is an Iranian instrument, and Melochord, a rare English instrument no longer in production. But here, Feluda intervenes and he denies Dasgupta's request to purchase these instruments, citing lack of evidence for the agreement. He also inspects these instruments, noting their unique craftsmanship. Here he again questions Sadhan, who speculates that the Melochord might be the same instrument he has heard his grandfather playing before his death. Finally, Feluda collects a sheaf of papers from the Almirah for further investigation, indicating that the investigation is going to deepen further. This is what we have done so far, and today we are going to start with chapter 3. In chapter 3, Feluda and his companion continue their investigation into the mysterious key and its connections to the Samadar family. Feluda decides to delve into Radharaman's papers. I need to think, Mr. Samadar, and I need to read these papers I took from your uncle's room. Maybe that will help me understand the man better. Besides, I need to do a bit of reading and research on music and musical instruments. Please give me 2 days to sort myself out. Feluda had spent a lot of time in searching the whole house a second time, but even that had yielded nothing. In the next paragraph, we have discussion with Moni Mohan Samadar. Feluda seeks dates and facts about the family, including the death of Murlidhar, Radharaman's son, and the life of Dharnidhar, Radharaman's grandson, who later becomes an actor under the name Sanjay Lahiri. You will have to help me with some dates. Yes. When did Radharaman's son Murlidhar die? In 1945. 28 years ago. How old was his son at that time? Dharani? He must have been 7 or 8. Did they always live in Calcutta? No, Murlidhar used to work in Bihar. His wife came to live with us in Calcutta after Murlidhar died. When she passed away, Dharani was a college student. He was quite bright, but he began to change after his mother died. Very soon, he left college and joined a theatre group. Feluda gets some insights from the papers. Feluda concludes that despite estrangement, Radharaman secretly follows Dharnidhar's acting career, collecting newspaper reviews about him. Radharaman Samadar's papers prove to be a collection of old letters, a few cash memos, 2 old prescriptions, a catalogue of musical instruments produced by a German company called Spiegler, musical notation written on pages torn out of a notebook, and press reviews of 5 plays in which mention of a Sanjay Lahiri had been underlined with a blue pencil. Said Feluda, looking at the notation. The handwriting on these is the same as that in Surajit Dasgupta's letter. Next we find some theatre connection. Feluda contacts the theatre group Modern Opera, where Sanjay Lahiri, Dharnidhar, plays lead roles. Then he went through the catalogue and said there is no mention of a Melochord. After reading the reviews, he remarked, Dharnidhar and this Sanjay Lahiri appear to be the same man. As far as I can see, although Radharaman refused to have anything to do with his grandson, he did collect information on him. especially if it was praise of his acting. Feluda put all the papers away carefully in a plastic bag and rang a theatre journal called Manchalok to find out which theatre group Sanjay Lahiri worked for. It turned out that the group was called the Modern Opera. Apparently, Sanjay Lahiri did all the lead roles. Feluda then rang their office and was told that the group was currently away in Jalpaiguri. They would be back only after a week. Feluda investigates music and melochord investigation. Feluda visits the National Museum and music shops. Feluda took me first to the National Museum. It was packed with all kinds of instruments going back to the time of the Mahabharata. Modern instruments were also displayed, although there was nothing that might have come from the West. Then we went to two music shops, one in Free School Street and the other in Lai Bazaar. Neither had heard of anything called melochord. Mr. Samadar was an old and valued customer, said Mr. Mondal of Mondal and Company, which had its shop in Lai Bazaar. Feluda had found one of their cash memos among Radharaman's papers yesterday. But no, we never sold him the instrument you are talking about. What does it look like? Is it a wind instrument like a clarinet? No, it's more like a harmonium, but much smaller in size. The sound it gives out is a crisp between a piano and a sitar. How many octaves does it have? I knew the 8 notes sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa made 1 octave. When Feluda told him a melochord had only 1 octave, Mr. Mondal shook his head and said, "No sir, I don't think we can help you. This instrument might well be only a toy. You may wish to check in the big toy shops in Newmarket." A visit to a theatre journal's office yields a crumpled photo of Sanjay Lahiri which confirms his identity. We thanked Mr. Mondal and made our way to College Street. Feluda bought 3 books on music and then we went off to find the office of Manchalok. We found it relatively easily, but it took us a long time to find a photograph of Sanjay Lahiri. Finally, Feluda dug out a crumpled photo from somewhere and offered to pay for it. "Oh, I can't ask you to pay for that picture, sir," laughed the editor of the magazine. "You are Felu Mitta, aren't you? It's a privilege to be able to help you." Finally, the last paragraph highlights Feluda's methodical approach to solving mysteries. By the time we returned home after stopping at a cafe for a glass of lassi, it was 7:30 p.m. The whole area was plunged in darkness because of load shedding. Undaunted, Feluda lit a couple of candles and began leafing through his books. When the power came back at 9, he said to me, "Topshe, could you please pop across to your friend Poltu's house and ask him if I might borrow his harmonium just for this evening?" It took me only a few minutes to bring the harmonium. When I went to bed quite late at night, Feluda was still playing it. Now we are going to discuss certain elements of a mystery, namely alibis and clues. Now, what are alibis and what are clues? Alibis are statements or evidence showing where a character was during a crime. For example, if a character was at his place of work during the robbery, that means he would be ruled out as a suspect. Now coming to clues, what are clues? Clues are details of evidence sprinkled throughout the story that amount to the big reveal at the end. For example, in a murder mystery, the pattern of blood spatter can give us a clue whether the killer is left-handed or right-handed. And in this story, we have certain alibis and certain clues. Now let's have a look at those specific alibis. When we talk about Dharnidhar, he is actually out of town with his theatre group in Jalpaiguri. This physical absence might serve as an alibi, although his connection to the case remains under scrutiny. Now coming to a very important clue in this story, we all know that Radharaman has an estranged relationship with his grandson Dharnidhar, but there is a certain clue, very important motive, that is, he still keeps newspaper clippings of his grandson Dharnidhar's acting, suggesting an emotional connection that might reveal hidden motives at the end. So this story is actually spattered with certain clues, certain motives, certain alibis, and we are going to decipher more such mysterious elements in the coming chapter. I'm sure students, you're enjoying this story and actually looking forward to unravel this mystery. We'll do that in the coming chapter. But before that, let's have a quick look at the task. You have to do these 3 questions pertaining to this chapter. So, we will decipher this cryptic code of the key in the coming chapter. Till then, happy learning. Have a great day.